Today's mission, get to Pakistan. I'm currently in Western China in a town called Tashkurgan. Technically not that far from the Pakistani border, at least as the crow flies, but it's not going to be as simple as that, because to get there we've got to cross what is the highest and has to be the coolest border crossing in the entire world. We've got to go from where we are now, 10,000 feet up in the Pamir Mountains, to about 15,000 feet up to get over the border into the northeast region of Pakistan. It's currently about -12 where I am now. I'm expecting it to get as low as -30 or so. So it's going to be a bit of a mission. It's probably going to be a full day exercise. Let's have a go at it, shall we? Another cool thing about today is this border until now has always been closed over winter. It normally shuts November to April because the weather is that bad and they just can't be bothered to try and deal with it. This is the first time it's open over winter, which means if today goes to plan, I'll be amongst probably the first Westerners to ever cross this in the winter months. How about that? Something slightly less cool about the day is, as far as I know, and there's not much information about this, as you can imagine, there's only one bus every day. And if that bus is full, tough, you've got to wait until the next day to try again. If you're trying to cross on a Friday, which yes, I am, you've got to wait until Monday because they don't work weekends. So I'm getting going early to give myself the best chance of a seat and to actually make it to Pakistan today, because that is the only way I'm going to get there. Anyway, the sun is touching the tips of the Pamirs. It's a glorious day for it. Let's have it. One thing I will say is having it is somewhat subject to finding it. I'm not really sure where this bus goes from. Somewhere over there. Excuse me. Pakistan. The bus. Here? Okay, thank you very much. One parting thought from Tashkurgan is my limited Chinese has been no help whatsoever. They speak Sarakoli here, which you might have learned in the last video, which is a really, really rare language, and there's no written version of it, so you can't even learn it if you wanted to. So saying the word Pakistan will have to do. Now this looks promising. It wasn't on any map that I looked at, but I think we've made it. Why is that G so big, by the way? I suppose in their alphabet they always write above the line, don't they? Nothing crosses down. Maybe it's that. But anyway, we've made it. Is there space? Alright, so this turned out to be a lot quieter than I expected. There were only a few of us in the queue for Pakistan. You pay the guy some money, you get your ticket. And there is also a Tajikistan desk, by the way, although I don't have any information about that. Thanks. And just like that, for 23 quid, we have a ticket. We're off to Pakistan. Job done. So for anyone wondering, looking at this for information, at least at this time of year, the bus departs at 11:30 Beijing time. I just went in there and bought mine at about 10 o'clock Beijing time. Got here a bit early because I expected it to be a bit busier, being a Friday. Because if you miss this one, you've got a 3-day delay to your plans, whether you're a trader or someone just traveling back home, or, you know, a traveler. So I expected a bit more chaos. That was pretty easy. Yeah, off we go. So this is our ride for the day. This must have started life in Kashgar. We're setting off from Tashkurgan. We actually left about half an hour earlier than the scheduled time because we had to go back on ourselves to go to the customs to do all of the official checking out of China. You go through some baggage scanners, a bit like an airport, and then you make your way to this building, which is where you do all your passport stuff. So this is customs. We've driven back into the town to get to this place, which ironically is directly opposite my hotel that I trekked from this morning to get to the bus station. I can see my hotel from here. So we've come all the way back, doing customs here, and then going back again. Alright, that is about that. Inside, obviously, I can't film anything, but it just looks like an airport kind of passport desk. Took about, I don't know, 5 minutes maximum. There's some people in there getting their luggage all checked, like proper custom stuff, but yeah, took a couple of minutes and we're out again. But now the strange thing is, I'm technically outside of China now. Even though there's an 80-mile drive, a couple of hours to the real border, from this point I am checked out of China officially, and I'm not going to be in Pakistan until on the other side of the border. So we're kind of kept in this pen and guarded, so I guess we can't run away. And then when everyone's done, we get back on the bus and we go again. Get comfy for this bit, because it's going to take a while for everyone to drip feed through with all of their luggage. I was sat here for about an hour and a half, and of course it's bloody freezing, but eventually when everyone gets through, you grab your stuff, you can get back on the bus and start to heat up again. By the way, that cloud symbol hotel there, in fact that window above the sign was my actual hotel room that I left hours ago, and now I'm leaving all over again. This road, by the way, is a continuation of the Karakoram highway, the same road from Kashgar to Tashkurgan, and it takes us to the Kundrab Pass. That is the border itself that we're aiming for. We had a roadblock again, but this time it was yaks, not wild horses like last time, so that's another one to add to the list. They do actually eat yaks around here, so they might be tea. And eventually you start getting higher and higher, snowier and snowier, through all these checkpoints without any stopping, because I suppose technically we're in no man's land. We're not in China or in Pakistan, so there's not really much traffic. Anyway, the landscape, of course, gets more and more majestic as time goes on. This is the only bit of road that is better in the world than the Kashgar to Tashkurgan one. This has to be the best road journey on the planet. Eventually you get to about 15,000 feet, that is the final customs post, and then you get to the pièce de résistance, this magical thing, this view here. This is the actual border between China and Pakistan, the dotted line on the map. Look at that, the highest in the world. I actually enjoyed this journey that much that this bit here, going under this archway, I actually felt a bit emotional. I thought this was such an incredible thing to be able to do. What a journey this is, what a unique part of the world. And then I guess we're into Pakistan. Do I love Pakistan? I guess we're gonna wait and see. And what does everyone do to mark the occasion? Piss on the side of the road. 15,397 feet up, the highest border crossing in the world, the highest point of the Karakoram highway. What a staggering part of the world. We've also just jumped 3 hours back in time, gone from 3:30 to 12:30, which is the biggest time zone jump you can actually do on the planet. Technically, China to Afghanistan would be the biggest 3.5 hours, except that isn't a border that exists, so the biggest time travel jump you can actually do. But we appear to be in an enormous rush, so we're straight back on the bus, straight to Pakistan. That time difference, by the way, is as drastic as going from France to Azerbaijan, which is a 3,000 mile flight that takes 5 or 6 hours. We've just done it in a few meters up there. It's also one of the very few border crossings in the world that mean you swap from the right side of the road to the left. So we're on the left side now in Pakistan. We've swapped over at the border. Feel free, by the way, to completely disregard what I just said about that last bit of road being the best in the world, because somehow on the Pakistani side it manages to get even better. It looks like a racetrack. The backdrop is phenomenal, but I think you can see why this is normally closed over winter. It's high up, it's snowy, it's bendy, it's a logistical nightmare. And still, despite all of that, our guy has got the balls to go for an overtake on roads like this. When vehicles do that, they get stuck, just like these two guys did down here, but he managed it nonetheless. Our guy was flying. And eventually you are delivered to the scam of the century, $40 US. That's 11,000 rupees, more than 20 times the cost for locals, for foreigners to drive through this national park. You go in this guy's office, you pay him an extortionate amount of money just to continue your bus journey. Bearing in mind, you don't get out, you don't visit the national park, it just allows you to continue the bus journey you already paid for. This in recent years has gone from 6 to 10 to 20 and now $40. It's ridiculous. But anyway, this is the national park. It would be fine if you could get out and explore, but you can't, and it is non-negotiable. It is a remarkable view though. This journey kept getting better and better until eventually we arrived in Sost. This is the customs post in Pakistan. Oh, nearly there. Customs to go, and then we're officially in Pakistan. It's a long journey this, without any proper stops. I've got my stamp, job done. We're about 8 hours into the journey, not at my destination yet, but we're officially in Pakistan at least, so that's a victory so far. And there goes our noble steed. We're in Pakistan. It's all a little bit different to the Chinese customs, but it was a lot quicker, I can tell you that. So this is Sost. Quite a different place, I think, to Tashkurgan. So this is my new whip. Compared to the taxis in China, quite different. But then I think everything is instantly very different. The mountains have stayed the same, but everything else is very big change in it. Did you also notice he didn't have a speedo in his car? I only picked up on it when we started driving. I can't really complain because it got us here. I just didn't know it was legal for car companies to make cars without that. Seems like quite an important thing really, and there was no number plate. But anyway, like I said, it got us here. But where is here? This is apparently tiny village called Pasu in the Gilgit-Baltistan region, northeast Pakistan. I actually learned on my taxi drive here, because the guys from here, they've got a special passport for this region, not the Pakistan passport, a separate one that allows them to go back and forth between here and China. So that was pretty cool. However, what is not that cool is it's freezing. There's no heating in the room. There's no internet anywhere. And all the restaurants nearby are closed. Not that helpful. We are of course surrounded by the magnificence of the Karakoram Mountains. Those ones there specifically, I believe they're known as the Pasu cones because of their pointy shape. But I'll tell you something, it's not China. Infrastructure doesn't really seem to exist. Stuff isn't really working. I'll show you my room. Here's what we've got. Well, the lights are working again, which is good. The electricity went off almost immediately after I arrived. And it looks pretty spacious, but I'm not joking when I tell you it's actually colder inside this room than outside. And outside it's minus something. I'm still really high up in the mountains. It's freezing in here. Yeah, no internet, no anything. I know these all sound like first world complaints. I'm out here. It should be a bit rough and rugged. It's not what I was ready for though. I'll acclimatise, but I was getting quite used to my life in Xinjiang. Different kettle of fish here, I think. Not sure about the hot water scenario. I mean, that's not even plugged in, but might be a fire hazard if it was. I don't know what this is plugged into. It was at this point I decided to jump ship. The hotel owner actually recommended me to go to a different town about an hour away to get the things that I needed. It was important that I was connected on this day in particular, but not before a quick pit stop at the Pasu cones. Now this is a spot. Have a look at that. There are the cones in the background, welcome to Pasu sign. Astonishing. That's cheered me up big time. There's also a glacier over there, and then as you pan this way, yeah, magnificent. Anyway, the journey continues, still not sorted yet. As you're about to see, this just gets more and more ridiculous. What should be quite simple becomes really hard work. All we're looking for is a SIM card and or money changing, but by the time we get to the town we were recommended, everything's shut. It's just getting darker, it's getting later. The taxi driver is brilliant, he's helping wherever he can, but look at the state of this. It's night time. We've been doing this for a couple of hours now with no luck. We eventually get to a hotel to ask for some help, but actually this guy has a bit of Wi-Fi and says he'll let me stay and pay whenever I've got money. He was an absolute lifesaver. Oh my god, I could make a 3-hour video on how ridiculously long that experience was, but I'm so hungry and thirsty I'm gonna die. I'm gonna eat, then I'm gonna go to bed. God, we've just done such a lap of the whole area. We ended up down all these random streets in different towns everywhere. No SIM card, no money changing. So we can't do anything about hotels until they're sorted. Nightmare. The taxi guy was a saint. He was patient, he helped me with everything. I was out of the hotel in China 12 hours ago and I've only just sat on a bed. Let's get some scran. I've not eaten all day, which has made this even more enjoyable. What an intro to Pakistan. The hotel that I've ended up staying in also has a restaurant, so the same terms apply. The bloke is letting me eat whatever I want and letting me just pay whenever I've got some money. What a bloke. I've got no idea what any of this is, by the way. I just picked a couple of random things and got involved. I was ravenous. What a long day. What a painful journey. Finally I can eat. Bearing in mind that before this, with no ATMs and no money changes, even though I came prepared with dollars, it didn't help. I was pretty stranded without this guy, so this food tasted incredible. I was starting to think I was never going to eat or sleep again. Okay, I've eaten, I've recouped. This is what we've got. Pretty spacious room. It's carpeted, it's a little bit warmer than the last one. There's no hot water. I'm starting to think that is quite a common thing here. There's a little bit of Wi-Fi, but I'm not that sure where I actually am in regards to everything. Still no SIM card, still no money. I thought I'd fixed both of them by having an eSIM just for the first day till I got a SIM card. Doesn't work. Money, I brought loads of dollars with me to change. No one changes dollars, so nice one. So that still needs fixing in the morning. But Ramadan is a month not just of fasting, but of being positive. And to be fair, I think I kind of expected a continuation of what I got used to in Xinjiang, which is the antithesis of what I was talking about in the previous video, saying that everywhere should be a little bit different, and I understand that. Now I'm settled, now I'm sorted for the night, I'm back in the game. So, continue the journey to Moz. What a day. Anyway, bottom line is, food was ace, the people have been dead nice and dead helpful wherever they could be, and we get to explore a new country. We made it to Pakistan after all, mission accomplished. But I told you this trip was going to be hard work, didn't I? Cheers, chaps. See you in a bit.